Hello and welcome to Neuroshambles, the podcast that aims to shine a light into some of the murkier corners of what it's like to parent neurodivergent kids. I'm Mark Allen, and every episode I'm going to be swapping stories with my guests about some of the frankly ludicrous nonsense we have to deal with on a daily basis. So, if you're anything like me and you're feeling frazzled, overwhelmed and pretty much an outcast from polite society, join me. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Neuroshambles. As always, it's an absolute joy to have you here, Neuroshamblers. Thanks for bearing with me a little bit longer than normal while I navigated the Easter holidays with my chocolate-addled lunatics. This episode is a particularly bumper-packed one. It's a little bit longer than usual for reasons that will become clear later on. I don't want to give you any spoilers, so let's just crack on with it and you'll see what I mean.
Meet the guest.
So this week's guest is no stranger to Neuroshamblers. So if you're a long-time listener, she needs no introduction. However, if you're a relative noob to the world of Neuroshambles, I should just give you a quick lowdown on who she is. As well as being a parent of two now fully grown neurodivergent children, she was the ringmaster in charge of the circus that was Sunday Club, the local group set up for parents of autistic ADHD kids where I live in Brighton, which I discussed at length in the recent episode about finding your people with Sam Bailey. Since we first met, she has inadvertently become hugely influential in the way I parent my own kids by showing me how to unapologetically advocate for their needs and to embrace the chaos and the joy they bring in equal measure. I am absolutely delighted to be able to welcome back. It's Jo Matthews.
Hey, thank you, Mark. What a lovely introduction.
It's all true.
And it's a joy to be here. Always a pleasure to sit and have a natter with you.
And you still can't bring yourself to listen back to anything we record.
No, I don't. I'm so common. In my head, I'm not as common as I am in real life. And then when I hear my voice, I'm just like, oh my God. But hey.
You are authentically Jo. Don't ever apologise. Okay, so for those people who do not know about your setup or might need a bit of a recap, just tell me about the neurodivergencies at play in your household, Jo.
So I am the incredibly proud parent of George, who's 23, and George is autistic and has ADHD. And then Dotty's now 19 and is autistic, and she has some physical health issues, but no other neurodivergence. And then Phil, their dad, and I, we're both in that middle-aged grey area of we're almost definitely neurodivergent, but it's kind of too late now, do you know?
Yeah, but is it worth it? You know? Yeah.
We've got this far in life, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we, as you say, fully accept, embrace and celebrate all things neurodivergency. We are delighted to be a neurospicy family.
Good. Thanks for introducing me to your setup again. We've got lots to cover in this one, so let's crack on with it.
What's the topic of the week?
So this week's topic of the week is one that I've had on my list for a while now because it was one that was suggested by a Neuroshambles listener called Lydia, and I've been waiting for the right guest to discuss it with. So when I was speaking to Jo about potential topics for this episode, I realised she'd be the perfect person to tackle this quite knotty subject, I think, which is the responsibility of being your child's safe person. Now, before we get into discussing the topic, I thought it might be useful to read the email I received from Lydia so we can discuss some of the points raised and we can relate it back to our own experiences. So this is it. Hi, Neuroshambles. Please, can you do an episode on why some of our kids are so intensely attached to us? My 13-year-old daughter is almost certainly neurodivergent, but undiagnosed because she refuses to go down the assessment route. She's always suffered with terrible anxiety, but it seems to be increasing lately. I am her anchor and always have been, but right now her anxiety is manifesting as a desire to have me with her all the time. She wants me to sleep in her room almost every night and hates me going out. When I'm away from her, she panics and calls and texts me constantly constantly unable to relax or sleep until I'm home again. Obviously, I want to do whatever I can to reduce her dysregulation, but I also want her to learn to manage her anxiety when I'm away, because being with her constantly just isn't possible.
Oh, Lydia, that's a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot.
Really familiar. Yes, I've been
Yeah.
there many times.
Yeah, okay, which is exactly why I thought you would be the perfect person to discuss this with, being so neuroaffirming, but also understanding things from the other side of things. So, obviously, reading between the lines, it seems that Lydia's daughter sees her as one of her only safe people in a world that I'm sure seems unsafe and daunting and overwhelming. So obviously increasingly needs her mum to help her navigate this in times of uncertainty, which, you know, is I'm sure it's a situation a lot of neuroshamblers have.
Interestingly, what I've seen in my own family and sort of through working with other neurodivergent families, it seems to be much more common in girls. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what the science behind that is, but it seems to be a sort of female autism trait that isn't uncommon at all.
Do you think that that might be tied to the prevalence of masking in people who are assigned female at birth? Do you think that they're holding it all in during the day so much that actually when they get back to their safe person, they really need them because they've just topped up that dysregulation. They've built it up over the day.
With Dotty, sorry, I'm giggling because I've just remembered when she was really small. With Dotty, who will talk to you in a while and we talk about it openly. I was always her safe person, and it was a very, very intense attachment and an intense need to be with me. I think it started when she was a toddler.
Right, okay.
Now, let me tell you, Mark, about Guy. And if you've got any Irish listeners, I just want to say, yes, I know. For non-Irish listeners, Guy in Ireland means a lady's area. However, to Dotty, Guy meant apple juice.
Right, okay.
Right. So right from when she was a toddler, the minute I went to sit down or do anything other than be focused on her, she would shout, "I want a Guy!" And I'd have to go and get her an apple juice. And we took her to the doctors thinking she was diabetic because she was drinking so much Guy that it was like, there must be something wrong with this child. But in retrospect, I now think, God, was that intense attachment starting really early on, so that even the idea of me not being focused on her felt scary and threatening, and I know I'll get her to get me a Guy because that
was a way of her getting your attention.
That gets her back to me and not trying to do anything else.
That is quite interesting. So obviously, when we spoke about this initially, Dotty was the one that you were like, oh, yeah, that's the experience that I have. You obviously didn't have that with George.
No, he was much more laid back, and he needs me. He needs me to sort of help him regulate sometimes, and definitely help him be. And he always needed that. But there was something with Dotty that it was an intense need.
Yes,
and the idea of not being able to access me was terrifying to her. So yeah, as a toddler, it was the constant Guy. If I ever tried to cuddle her brother, she would come and she would get her bum in between us and wiggle until we were separated, and then she'd be. So it was like this very gradual build up, I guess, from toddlerhood onwards, of this child really, really needs me in a way that I've not experienced. And then she started school, And then all hell broke loose.
Right, okay, because obviously that's a major thing, isn't it? If you're seen as as a safe person, and
Yeah,
in the preschool years, you can be with them most of the time,
yeah,
and you need to be. Obviously, you can't leave your
yeah.
toddler roaming around and just
It's
fending for
frowned on,
themselves, right?
Mark. It's
Yeah,
frowned on.
very often. So,
I tried.
so understandably, you have to be near. But
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
from your point of view, it's like, right, she's going to school. Fantastic. I get a little bit of time to myself
yeah,
and to remember who I am as a human instead of just a mum.
yeah.
How did that go then at school when she had
Oh,
to go?
bless her little heart. It was just too much. She couldn't bear being away from me. So we tried all sorts of things. One thing that really helped was Mummy Mouse. So we had this little tiny mouse teddy,
Right.
and it's like when you get a new puppy or something like that. I would literally just have it stuffed in my jumper for a few days and then give it to Dot and be right, take Mummy Mouse to school. And she'd have him up her sleeve.
Right.
In psychological terms, it's called a transitional object. And this
Okay.
object
Yeah.
represents, okay, Mum still exists, Mum's still at home, I will get to see Mum, but until then I've got Mouse and I'll
Okay.
hang on to Mouse.
And there's also that smell, I'm guessing, as well.
Yeah,
The scent is a very evocative sense.
yeah. So to an extent that helped.
Okay, interesting. And then obviously this is evolved over time as you've learned more about Dotty's neurotype and as
Yeah.
Dotty's presumably kind of needed you more over time, which we'll go into in more detail. But I'm just quite interested in, for people who aren't familiar with the term safe person or what that involves. I think there's
Yeah.
what being a safe person for your neurodivergent child looks like is different.
Oh.
As you were saying with George, he still needed you, just in a different way, potentially. And it's the same with me and my kids. They all need me in very different ways. And I think depending on your child's specific blend of neurodivergent traits, it shows up in different ways. So Otto has anxiety. He's extremely anxious. So being a safe person for him requires me to essentially work alongside him, helping him navigate the world. So the analogy that I've used on previous episodes is that he needs a Sherpa to help him navigate through life. And I am his Sherpa, bless him. So, there's someone who can help him navigate terrain that he's not familiar with and carry a lot of the heavy baggage that he's struggling with. So he needs me and Tam alongside him through most steps of the journey, if not us, other people, which again we'll kind of get onto, but it's particularly important to him because of his anxiety. So he's very reluctant to engage in any new situation unless we're there, even if actually it's a situation he's been in and he knows he enjoys, unless we're sort of there to act as a guide or someone is there that he's comfortable with, is safe for him. Jay in India, completely different because they're PDA, right?
Yeah.
So how I am perceived as a safe person is very different because they both largely want to be independent. Yes. Right, they don't really want me around.
Yeah.
Jay, literally last night I was chatting to him. He went, okay, you can go now. just right. We were having a nice chat, and then he was like, right, I'm done. He doesn't want me there often.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's okay, but it's very, very different from Otto. India, very similar, except that she doesn't say it. She just waves me off. She dismisses me like I'm a belligerent butler or something like
off
that.
You trot now.
Off you trot now. She dismisses me that way. But again, it's not that need for closeness that I experience with Otto. I think it's quite interesting because it is an anxiety-based thing when it becomes a need to be with that, to almost imprint yourself on that same person.
There is an intensity to it that I think parents of neurotypical children can't begin to fathom the intensity of that attachment. I mean, I've had phases where I couldn't go to the toilet on my own. I literally had to be physically next to Dots 99% of the time.
Which is no fun for both of you, let's face it.
I mean,
I mean, she must really have needed you.
Yeah, and it was hard work for me, but I think for Dotty that must have been so much worse, because imagine having your
Of
whole
course.
sense of safety tied up in being physically next to a person, and being constantly with another person just isn't always possible, because we have
Yes,
to
of course.
go to work, or
Did that manifest itself in sleeping as well?
oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
yeah, okay. So that
She
was the
slept in
thing
my
that
bed. I mean, she still does sometimes, and that's fine. That's we got a really big bed, and that's what
yeah.
she needed. That just sort of physical presence. What I would say, it ebbs and flows.
hmm
So there would be time periods where that intensity was full on, and I had to be physically present, emotionally present in every way imaginable. And then there would be other times where it would just sort of ease off a bit. And when Dot felt less anxious, more confident about her place in the world.
So a lot of this is tied to the anxiety.
Oh, 100%.
So obviously, the more anxious they feel, the more tightly they kind of cling to you because they
Yes.
need you to be there for them.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
an enormous privilege to be someone's safe person, isn't it? What an enormous privilege to kind of, but it's exhausting as well. It's
yeah,
both of those
yeah, of
things.
course,
It's like
yeah.
I had to build in non-negotiables. I'm still working on my bath as being a non-negotiable. To this day,
Don't tell me she gets in with you.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
That's a whole other.
It's not got that far.
To this day, I'll be in the bath and I'll hear one of them at the door, like trying to open the door to just ask me something, and I'll lie in the bath just going, no! And then I hear the footsteps receding. But those
Yeah,
sort of little windows of time where it was like, that's non-negotiable, I'm not available. And that was like a little reboot. You need to build those in, even if it's half an hour a day of lying in the bath, sort of like that. You need that time to regulate yourself, because you can't
yeah, of course.
co-regulate unless you
hmm
regulated yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting that we were talking about the toilet because again, it's not a sanctuary. It's not the sanctuary it needs to be in our
No.
household. Constantly, Otto will just pop in for a chat. It's like, dude, I'm
I'm literally on
I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment.
And you're a dad. Dad's toilet times should be sacrosanct.
Everyone's toilet time should be sacrosanct. This is not a male-female dynamic here.
Yeah, no, true.
The more I thought about this, the more I realized I think there are different elements of safety that we can provide for our kids.
Definitely.
And if you look at it on the umbrella of our children are facing challenges with the outside world. They're facing, uncertainty, not necessarily always anxiety, but there's almost certainly a feeling that they don't fit in, or that they're sort of being corrected for doing things that they don't understand why they're not correct. And there's a sense of not feeling their own place in the world yet.
Yeah.
Before they can fully articulate their neurodivergency, they fully understand their neurotype, maybe. So it's important that they are with people who get it and who don't judge and who can accommodate their needs and help them with it. And I wanted to look at the different ways that we can be safe, a safe person for our kids, and that we do, but mostly without thinking, but why that's so important to them and what we actually do there. I think the top one, I haven't got a league table. This is just like
Here is my number one.
But I think probably the most important of all of these facets of being a safe person is being their co-regulator, helping them to regulate when they're dysregulated. Because over time, we do learn the different strategies that our kids need when they're in overwhelm. And when they're in overwhelm, it gets to the point that they're not able sometimes to rationally think about, okay, this is where I am and this is what I need to come back from overwhelm. Certainly with mine, when they're dysregulated, then I need to step in, or Tam needs to step in and help to kind of guide them back to a place of regulation. And that's very different for each one of my children.
Yeah.
And I now know the secret little, I know the things, I know the off ramps that
Yeah.
I can guide them to. And that's become really important to them because they trust me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's where you were with Dotty.
Yeah. I think sometimes the needs of our children can get pathologized when actually maybe we could look at them as just, well, that's part of child development. So all children need co-regulation until they're of an age whereby they've learned how to regulate themselves. All children need that. Our children might need that for much longer.
Yep.
George is pushing 24 years now. No, he's not. He's not. I'm doing it. But our children might need that for longer. They might appear to have got to the point where they're really good at self-regulating, and then have the odd moment where it's like, oh God, I can't do, mum, I need you.
Yeah.
And I guess part of being a safe parent is showing up again and again and again and again, even if it feels like, oh God, you're 13, you should be able to manage this. And I guess there isn't a should. It will ebb and flow, and there will be times when they really need more help to regulate, and then there will be other times where it's like you sit up one day and go, oh my God, look at you, you've got this. You had a really healthy moment there and you're kind of managing it. And that's unfortunately or fortunately just the job description, isn't it?
Yes. And our role, I guess, is to be there when they can't, either they haven't learned the strategies themselves to be able to do it. So it's different, with my lot, like Jay knows what he needs to regulate. He might need reminding that he needs to go and do that, but I don't have to be with him. In fact, it probably helps that I'm not with him while he does it. So today he was massively kicking off, like, oh God, lovely family game, and then he was not doing well, and I had to basically, just nudge him towards self-regulation, as in, go and do your thing. And then he was like, fine, and then he did it, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. And in India and Otto came out of hiding. Okay, but he's largely able to do that. India can't do that yet. But then India's 8. So it takes a little bit more time. So India needs me, and that's not, I'm not deliberately trying to build up a need or a dependency. It's just the more overwhelmed they are, the more they're going to look towards us to help them, because they've got experience of us doing that before.
And as I say, I think that it's okay. I think it is okay with,
Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is what? Leaving them to just like fester in overwhelm. That's like, no, that's never going to be the an acceptable way of dealing with it, is it?
No.
And I think, as you say, and it's worth just sort of reiterating this, I think the more anxious they feel, the more they need you, because they're so much closer to that overwhelm. The more, I think, as you say, that they mask and then they come back into their home and they can unmask, the more then it all comes out, and then they need that regulation as well. I'm interested in whether that intensified for you and Dotty roundabout sort of as she started to become a teenager and puberty kicked in, whether that had an impact on it.
I think friendship dynamics for girls and AFAB children become really complicated round about the age of 13, 14.
Right.
Their sort of neurotypical peers have become much more socially sophisticated, and sort of our children can be a bit bewildered and left behind. So I don't know that puberty in and of itself was a factor, but certainly those relationships and navigating the trauma that is secondary school meant quite often a return to, okay, come and sleep in my bed. Okay, right, I'll pick you up from school. And we used to, I did, this wasn't my best parenting moment, but I used to get a phone call from the school saying, oh, Dot's not coping, can you come and get her? And I'll be like, yeah, brilliant, I'm on my way, let me just, while I was driving from our house to the school, which I was normally there within 20 minutes of the phone call, Dot would ring me 2 or 3 times to say, "Where are you? Where are you? Are you here
Oh,
yet?
God.
When will you be here?" And I didn't handle it brilliantly because in the end I just lost it. I went, "Will you stop phoning me to ask?
I'm on the way."
I've dropped everything." And yeah, as I say, it wasn't my finest moment, but I think it did kind of then a penny drop for Dot. Oh, right, yeah, no, that doesn't help Mum get here quicker. It just causes
No,
her
it just makes Mum more pissed off.
yeah. It just causes her
Yeah.
to arrive with steam coming out of her ears and a scary facial expression.
Yeah, because that is it as well. Because when you hear that your child is overwhelmed, I have this with Jay sometimes as well. When the school phone me,
Yeah.
you're like, I want to do whatever I can, but I'm at work and I've got to, just managing that, like having to drop things to go and do it,
Yeah.
is stressful. So we're a little bit overwhelmed as well.
Good point. Yes, I would be in the car already a little bit heightened and already a little bit like, oh, for God's sake, I was right in the middle of that. Fucking all the plans have changed. Yeah, and then getting 2 or 3 phone calls didn't add to my calmness.
No, I can imagine. One of the other things that I think our neurodivergent kids need for us to be as their safe person, not all of them, again, and this one is particularly prevalent with Otto, is sort of scaffolding their day-to-day life. I think this possibly happens when they're a bit younger, but I mean, Otto is certainly in that. In a world that can seem unpredictable and uncertain, and when you have children who need to know what's going on, they need to know the plan. Otto does not deal well with surprises or changes in routine. He needs to kind of really think about the structure of a day before it happens, but not too far in advance. There's no point in me telling him about 2 days' time, because that's you can't hold all that in there. But he needs to know the plan for the day. So I need to give him a heads up about everything that's planned, and he can't handle any amount of time that is where there's not a plan.
Oh God.
Which is quite difficult for me as what I will call an improvisational parent. Yeah, okay. So Tam sort of plans things, activities and stuff to do. That's part of Tam's neurotype as well. Tam is ADHD, so needs to go, right, well, I know that I've got them this weekend, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to go here, and we're going to do this. Right, fine. And then Tam can relax.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we'll do so. We'll probably go swimming. If the weather's nice, we'll go for like a walk or something. Otherwise, we'll just make shit up as we go along.
Yeah.
Which is fine for me. It's definitely fine for Jay and India because they're PDA. They like the novelty, right? Otto needs shit to do at all times.
Right.
So he's fine with us not having sort of set big plans, but he will constantly be going, can we do table tennis? And then I'll go like, well, I've got to do this. Like I've got, I have to do shit in the house as well. I'm a parent, I'm a homeowner. I've got to do the washing and I've got to do the cooking and the cleaning. But yes, when I do this, we'll play table tennis. And as I go to get him to play table tennis, I have to give him a time as well.
Oh, bless him.
Right. As I'm on the way to play table tennis, he will be asking me what we're doing after table tennis.
Oh,
and it's like, this is the thing. Concentrate on this thing now.
I've done the thing.
Just enjoy the table tennis. But I have to say, okay, and then we do that, and then we do that, and then we do that. And that's really important for him. And I think I don't know if you've experienced that with either of yours.
Dot would appear first thing in the morning, and I'm looking at her because she's across the room. And I've never been accused of being an early riser. So on a Saturday morning, I would open my eyes at about 10:30, 11, and she'd be there. And I'd be like, oh, morning. And she'd go, what are we doing today? And it's, oh, Jesus.
Well, first thing, getting my shit together.
Can I just coffee? I'll be drinking coffee. Yes, there has to be a plan, and that plan had to involve her and I spending significant amounts of the day together.
That laughter you hear in the
That's
background, by the way,
Dotty.
Neuroshambles, is Dotty, who is
Who's
listening in on
the
this.
yeah.
Now, I haven't actually said this on this episode, but Dotty has kindly agreed to be a second guest on Neuroshambles. So I'm going to be talking to Dotty later. In the meantime, if you hear that
That
laughter in the
cackle.
background, that cackle in the background, that'll be Dotty.
Yeah. Oh, I think she's keeping an eye on us as well as waiting for her moment.
It's funny, isn't it, that we're talking about an episode about being your child's safe person, and Dotty is literally in the
Yeah.
room with you.
Yeah.
So it never leaves you, does it?
No.
So yes, it's that in itself is quite difficult, and I totally understand why he needs it, why Otto needs it, why Dotty needed it. It's this uncertainty of like, well, what does the day look like?
Yeah.
And they need that, and it falls on us to provide that, and that is a way that we can show that we're a safe person.
Yeah.
When they're going to school, even though there's a timetable, you don't have that necessarily of someone who's explaining in enough detail, I think, the transitions
at each point. Yeah.
So if they've got someone who can do that in minute detail in their day-to-day life, then obviously they can feel a bit more comfortable and a bit more safe around them. Another function as a safe person, and again, it's another one that I have with Otto, but not necessarily with the other two, is that I have to largely be Otto's executive function. Right? He struggles with executive function. He finds it difficult to remember where he puts things, or managing his time, or coping with multiple instructions at once.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even have to remind him to go to the toilet or eat, because he just
It
gets distracted. And I notice him getting a bit fizzy, a bit overwhelmed. I'm like, have you eaten? Do you need the drink? Have you gone to the toilet in the last 4 hours? And then he'll do it and it will fix him. But it's very much a facet of parenting Otto.
And it's funnily enough, Dotty never really struggled with executive function as much as her brother did.
Okay,
and it's
that's more of an ADHD thing, isn't it?
Yes, because he's ADHD as well. So to this day, he will come and it will be, right, Mum, I've got this problem. I need to book out some equipment at college, and I've never booked out equipment before, and I don't know what to do. And so for him, I'll be much more like, okay, we'll break it down, and okay, so who could you ask? And okay, shall we email them? Dot would have booked out the equipment, brought it home, set it up, and got on with it before I even knew about it. She'd have sorted her own self out. So it's different. Yeah,
and again, I think India would definitely do that. Jay. I think he's getting there.
Sorry, I'm going to completely digress, and you can put this in or leave this out. Can I tell you the drowning story?
Yeah, please do.
It's funny as fuck, right? So a while back, Dot said to me, if me and George were both drowning, who would you save? And I thought about it for a minute, and I went, I'd save your brother, because your brother would just flail about shouting, going, I'm drowning! I am fucking drowning! I am drowning here! He would somehow find a way to blame me for the fact that he was drowning. And he'd be fucked. There would be no chance whatsoever of him surviving.
But he wouldn't help himself.
No. But while George was shouting, I'm drowning, Dot would have made a plan. She'd have thought, right, how do I get myself out of this drowning scenario?
Yeah.
And she would have executed that plan, and we'd meet her on dry land. So it's that. That's the difference.
She's going to end up swimming back in and saving both of you.
Probably. She'd have organised like a search party with lifeguards and stuff to come and get us.
India's tried asking me that kind of question. That is a difficult question to answer. She actually asked me who my favourite was.
Oh, it's a tricky one. Yeah.
And my answer to that always is Colin from down the road.
I know it.
Right, Colin doesn't exist.
No.
I've never met a Colin, a child called Colin, but I've just invented this child.
Imaginary child.
It's like this. This perfect child. And that seems to She knows I'm joking, but she did actually ask me to draw a picture of him today.
You're going to have to just
I did actually.
please find a random, really good-looking child and just go, yes, Colin, yeah. I can have a picture of him. Here's a short video of
There you
Colin
go.
singing or something. Being perfect.
He's playing the oboe.
Or eating. Look at his table manners. Look at
He's using a
Colin.
knife and fork. Look at this.
Unbelievable.
And you wonder why he's my favourite.
Oh, I need a Colin. Yeah.
So with Otto, and it sounds like with George as well, executive function is a big struggle for them sometimes. So being their executive function is another way that we can be their safe person. It feels a lot like Otto outsources his brain to me sometimes. Like he doesn't even try and put stuff in his brain.
No.
He's like, where's my iPad? It's like, you were using it. I wasn't using it. Where did you put it? I don't know. And he's like, I don't know. It's not even near to being something that he can recall. So then I have to go find it.
Yeah.
Or try and give him strategies for remembering where it is. He also does this thing where he'll ask me where something is without looking for it.
Yeah.
He won't even try looking for it.
Yeah.
He'll just, he's like, well, that's just gone.
I'll ask them. Well, it's object permanence. And again, that's an ADHD thing. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist. It's gone. It's not real anymore.
I know.
George does the same. Yeah.
Very often, it is right in front of him.
Yeah.
He's not even tried looking, because had he just given a cursory glance around the room, he'd see that it was right there. But he doesn't. Exactly. No wonder I'm safe for him. Yeah. I fulfill so many functions.
You're an amazing guy, Mark.
He's a memory as well.
Yeah.
He also asks me to do stuff that he can do, which I'm trying to train him out of now. But he's like, "Can you get me some water?" It's like, you can definitely do that. Yeah. That's the thing you can do. Yeah. He did that today. It was like, yes, I can, but you can also do it. So crack on. But I feel like that is, part of them leaning into you more as a safe person. They're like, oh, I can really just.
And it's testing. It's going back to the GE with Dot. It's testing. Does that still work? If I say, oh, can you get me a water? Well, is that still working? Is Dad still 100% committed to my needs? I wonder. Or he's just being a little shit. I don't know. One of the two.
No, he's not doing it to test me. I think, and I don't. Yeah, it's interesting that I'd not seen it from a place of just checking that I'm still there, testing me.
Is Dad still committed to my needs? Will he still do this if I ask him? Because that will make me feel a little bit safe and a little bit okay.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm going to have to think about that next time he asks me.
I mean, you can still say no, Mark.
Yeah. Or I could go do it and go, yeah, I can, and then just tip it away. Your turn.
Good. Power move. Maintain eye contact whilst pouring.
Oh, it turns out I can get water.
Yeah, look at me.
The other function I think that we fulfill as our neurodivergent kid safe person is really important, I think, and that's advocating for them. Being the person that shows up and helps them to advocate for them when they're not able to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
Which I do for all of my kids, and I'm sure that we all do it for all of our kids. But I think they see that. And that's such a huge part of being safe for them, is just having their back.
And being on their side no matter what, and no matter how often I've had to go up the school or up the college, or, I'm on their side, and that's not going to change. And maybe that must make them feel safe, I guess. Yeah,
no, definitely. Well, I think some of it is an element of it is being a translator between the world outside and them. Mm-hmm. I think, because so many things with our neurodivergent kids are not instinctive. The way that the world responds, social interactions, unwritten rules and regulations, and people's responses aren't always kind of clear to them. So having someone who is able to help to translate between the neurotypical world and their own perspective of things, I think is really important. And I'm doing this a lot more with Jay now. Mm. We've had a few we've had a few emails from the school this year where, for whatever reason, something has happened with the school and he's reacted badly to certain situations, and then I will talk to Jay about it. But it's never just like, school have been on the phone and you're in trouble. It's obviously not that. It's like, and also he's PDA, so you have to approach it very, very delicately. But it's then having those conversations and going, explain what happened from your perspective. And it is crucially, it's a very collaborative kind of approach of like, I've had an email from the school and I now need to get back to them and explain things from your perspective. So help me see that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to go, you're making this hard for me. Like, I mean, I hear what you say, but think about how I'm going to explain that to the school.
Sometimes you just have to go like, honestly, son, what the fuck were you thinking? I'm thinking of George used to get detentions, and every single time he'd be like, "This is bullshit. It's bullshit." And
it's like, it's not always bullshit, though, is it?
No, there was one where they were trying to flush a locker door down a toilet. I don't even know what was going through their daft brains. And George was going, "I didn't even do it. I wasn't even involved." And I said, "George, they've got you on CCTV doing that at the camera."
It's like, help me out here, George. Yeah. It's like you're his defense lawyer, isn't it? It's like, I did feel like that sometimes with Jay. I'm like, okay,
come on.
Now, but that's important. That's an important part of showing up, right?
Yeah.
And I do, because I don't blindly defend him. I'd never want to be that, like, my child can do no wrong.
Yeah.
But I can understand things from his perspective that they might not understand.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, so this is what led up to that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the thing. This is probably how that situation would be better handled for Jay's neurotype.
Yeah.
Because I've had that before where the teacher has handled it in a sort of a non-PDA friendly approach. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, next time, how about this? That's fine. And very often also I'll say to Jay, look, you could definitely have done things differently. And now we're a bit more collaborative. He has actually admitted some things where he's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I could have done that. And with Otto as well, with school, sometimes when he was coming out of school regularly overwhelmed and anxious, he really needed me to explain back to the school, here are the things that led to that overwhelm.
Yeah.
Here are the things that could have been done differently, not blaming them, but just going, this is his perspective.
Yeah.
And I do think that they see us doing that. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're not having to go at me because the school's on the phone,
And I think as the parent now of older, wonderful, wonderful young people, is what I see now with both of them is they will self-advocate. They are able to articulate their needs and to kind of educate people as to actually, what I need is for you to do it this way. And Dotty is incredible at that. So, yeah, I think we're
wicked.
We're giving them that foundation of it's okay to identify your needs and express them to people. And, we're modelling how to do that.
That's my one wish for my kids. It's the biggest thing that I can teach them is being able to advocate for themselves. And they're not there yet.
They will.
We've got a long way, but, we model it daily. So we'll keep trying.
He's giving you lots of opportunities to model that advocacy.
Yeah,
that's the way to look at it.
Absolutely. One thing that I do also do is I tell Jay what I'm going to write back to the school.
Yeah.
Again, and I think that's important to go, look, you've not left me much to work with here, but here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say we've had a conversation about it and we've agreed this, right? Is that okay to say that? Good. Yeah, fine. And then, so it's it's not easy, but we get there. The other one, which we sort of touched on about being your child's safe person, is being their physical safe space. That it's not just sort of being in the room or scaffolding things or helping them when they're overwhelmed. It's physically being there sometimes, which is, again, a lot with Otto, but you're saying with Dotty, just having you there calmed her.
Yeah. And that is a huge privilege and it is absolutely exhausting. And And I think it also depends on your own needs. I tend to reach a certain point where I just need to be on my own. And that sort of need for solitude was completely at odds at times with Dot's need to be with me. And
Yeah.
you just have to balance it as best you can and get in that bath and shout no at anyone who comes to the door.
This is the thing that we've sort of, that we'll probably touch on later, actually. When they have to be physically with you, you don't get any respite.
Yeah.
And it's not that I love my kids to bits, but I also just need that little, just a little breather.
Yeah. And some friends really don't get that. So I know on the very occasional times I'd be out with friends and I'd have my phone on the table so that Dot could text me and I could respond. And we'd I'm trying to remember. I think we'd set a boundary, and I'm half looking at Dot, of text, but don't keep phoning me, text.
Yes, it was I could text you every now and then, but I wasn't allowed to call you.
Yes. And so something about knowing that she was allowed to text me as much as she wanted kind of helped her to feel safer without me.
Right. So it was the being out of contact was anxiety inducing, where it's like, I'm not out of contact. You can text me, but I'm out.
Yeah. But don't ring me because I'm out with my friends. And if you text me, I'll respond, but you're not to ring. And I know some friends would be like, Joe, just put your phone away. And how would you begin to explain that to someone who just doesn't get it? It's like, well, I'm not going to do that because that would be a betrayal of my child's needs. And she's not doing it to be awkward or demanding or difficult, or this is what she needs from me and I will show up and meet that needs.
Yes, of course. Yeah. As they would with their children if they were in the same situation, but they don't see it because, they see that the child is too needy. That's probably not the right terminology, but it's like, there's possibly the implication that you're encouraging that as well.
Yeah.
That codependency almost.
Oh God, yeah.
So this need for you to be physically close manifests itself, and this is where being in the bed at night is true of you, and it's definitely true when Otto is particularly anxious. He always comes into my bed, and he's incredibly wriggly, but he needs to be physically close. Not even just being in the room, right? It's like limpet against me, and I end up sort of shoved against the wall. It's being in the room. It's being, and it's about a presence. As
what I would say to you is, look, how many adults do you know who still sleep in a bed with their mum and dad because they can't cope otherwise? None. So it will be all right. That's what I keep telling myself. They will eventually get to a point where they don't need that.
It's true.
But I know that's no comfort when you're...
It feels like a luxury to have the bed to yourself, right? Yeah. When you get it to yourself and you wake up and you go, I got the whole night to myself.
Yeah.
Glory days.
Yeah.
But there's definitely that, again, being able to do that and not sending them away and going, no, sleep in your own bed. Because I've tried that, with Otto before. He's like, no, you'll be fine. And then I find out that he's just been lying awake in his own bed, not able to go to sleep, which is like, And so now he comes in and apologetic, bless him, like, dude, just come in.
Yeah, just, it's okay.
Never apologize. Just come in. You need me. This is it. The other thing we can do to be our child's safe person, this one I think is more with Jay, is being an emotional outlet for them.
Yeah.
When they are dysregulated and overwhelmed, or they just need to be able to express themselves without fear of judgment. Mm-hmm. That's the crucial thing, isn't it? Like when Jay is furious, he needs to just shout and swear and just get it all out. And in the early days, I did not respond well to that.
Oh, bless.
I did not like being shouted at. I did not like him saying awful things to me. And if anyone has a PDA child, you will recognize this, of them just being awful because they just need to, it's equalizing behavior. It's saying the worst thing they can say at that moment in time because they need to, they feel shit. So they need everyone to feel shit. So it balances out, I guess, is my reading of it. Not a scientific interpretation, but that's how it feels.
Yeah.
And doing that and being able to be that sort of emotional punching bag sometimes, and not being pushed away by that, I think is really important to them. Do you have that with?
Not so much with Dot. She is much more articulate with her emotions. So she will come to me and say, I feel sad. And then we'll talk, okay, why are you feeling sad? Her brother, oh my Lord, the names I've been called, the sort of explosive anger. And it took me a long, long time to recognise that his anxiety was coming out as anger and as this rage.
Yes. It's difficult to attribute that to anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you think you're not anxious, you're really confident.
Look at you, you little shit. You're shouting at me and calling me, what is it, a red-haired whore was a favourite. Yeah.
No.
But recognising that actually at the heart of that was anxiety really helped me not to take it personally. Because, no one wants to be called a red-haired whore. And it's also then what we are modelling in those moments, and what we have the opportunity to model is, I'm going to show up for you, even if you shout and scream and call me every name under the sun. I'm going to love you anyway, and that nothing you can do will change the fact that I will love you exactly the way you are. And it's not always easy.
It's really not. No, it's not.
Yeah, but it's a really important thing to be able to do, because these kids aren't unconditionally loved by lots of people in their lives. Lots of people in their lives want them to, you just need to change and fit into this mold and be different. And we have the opportunity to be like, no, you exactly the way you are. I will show up and love that little shit shouting at me.
I mean, in the outside world, I dare say some people would probably react quite badly to being called a red-haired whore.
I mean, yeah, it's suboptimal.
It's not everyone's cup of tea. So, yes, but how many times outside of your bubble is he sort of expressing his emotional, expressing anger to people, and it goes badly, it's received badly. He's, because it's not an easy thing, because no one else really should have to put up with it. So having a place that he can do that without judgment, I think, is really important, and that's one of the tougher parts of being I'll have Otto in my bed every time rather than
well, yeah, at least Otto's like it's a loving embrace rather than, but it's both stemming from the same thing, which is anxiety.
So one of the things that I think is worth, you've mentioned a couple of times, and I think is worth sort of zooming in on, is that to be a safe person for your kids, no matter how that looks, as we've discussed lots of different ways that we can be their safe person, it's exhausting. It's really exhausting to constantly have to juggle all of this and to hold all of this emotionally and physically, I think. And I mean, I presume that you felt that with Dotty.
Oh God, yeah. At times, you just have that feeling. I used to feel quite claustrophobic. Not often, but every now and then, I just feel like I just need some space, and that I'm doing that. I'd feel sort of like, oh my God. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to acknowledge that.
Of course it is, yeah. It's understandable. It would be weird if you didn't.
I'd love to have an easy answer of, and what you must do is, what you must do is just get through it and get through it and get through it.
There's no easy answer to any parenting of neurodivergent kids, is there? And this claustrophobia you're talking about isn't just the physical one. It's just not just the physical presence. It's having to be there constantly, emotionally, and not having any downtime, not having that respite. So, if we just bring it back to Lydia's email of going out and still getting text messages, and with Dotty and you as well, still getting those text messages and those phone calls, and it's like, this is a me time that you need it. That's what you need, and that's not really being prioritized. And especially if they've been in your bed all night as well, so you're knackered.
And then
so you're dealing with that as well.
And the moment you opened your eyes that morning, they were there going, "What are we doing today?" It's a lot. Look, I can't give a glib like, and here's how you manage it. Here's what I can promise is that on the other side of that is the most incredible relationship. Dotty and I are so close now. And both my kids, we just have brilliant relationships because I showed up again and again and again. And I didn't always get it right. I wasn't always perfect, but I suppose that's the thing to hold on to is they won't need you as intensely forever. And if you can hang in there, you will have these incredible relationships on the other side.
Did you feel sometimes that you didn't have that closeness because it was just too much and you were maybe reacting the bad way, or you weren't able to hold all of that in all the time? Was there a time where you weren't as close as you are now?
I think we've always been close. I think if I'm really honest, there were times where I just felt so stifled and so kind of overwhelmed with the needs of both of the kids that, yeah, I would maybe feel a bit more closed off than I might have done. I don't know. Who knows? I've never had that experience of parenting a neurotypical child.
Yes. I mean, because one thing that I'm sort of, I wonder and I kind of hope is that even when they say really rough things, you know, and there'll be an outburst, particularly from the PDAs when they're really, you know, frustrated and there's a bit of an outburst. I like to think, it's probably for myself more than for them, that deep down they know that we're a safe person.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from a place of negativity, but that they just know that they can say it to us because we'll still be there.
Because we will love them anyway. And we've built that solid foundation of you're okay to express yourself however you need to, because we will still love you, you little toe rags.
Another thing I wanted to explore is that when you're your child's safe person, there's a certain level of guilt that can come with that as well, in multiple ways. For Otto, like, I can't be there as much as he needs me to be. It's not possible. It's not possible for anyone to be there as much as an anxious child needs them to be. And there's an element of guilt because the fact I can't be there doesn't mean that they don't still need me. And so you feel a little bit sometimes, and I know I do with Otto, that I feel like I'm letting him down a bit. I know, like, objectively that's not true, but it feels like sometimes when I'm not able to do all the things he wants me to do because I'm cooking and I can't stop cooking to go and watch him play a video game or whatever, I have to say no to Otto a lot more. Because he asks more of me. So I think constantly saying, not now, I can't do that now, but I will do it in, 49 minutes or, like really specific. But I feel guilty about that sometimes. It's hard to live with that.
And I think we're only human, aren't we? And those feelings of guilt are human, but also the inability to meet these children's needs because the needs are so very intense, that's also quite human. I cannot physically be there constantly. It's just not possible.
Yes.
And I think all we can do is try as best as we can to equip them and give them the tools to manage when we're not there, successfully or not. So there'll be times where they're more successful at managing that and times when they're less so. But that's all that we can do as humans, is show up when you can and just give them something for when you can't be there.
Yeah. And I think that's the tricky thing, isn't it? I guess, at least, with Otto, I'm in the house at the time, so he knows that I'm still there. I think that has a difference. Another element of guilt that I feel, and this is specifically just in a household of multiple neurodivergents, is that sometimes having to give attention to the child that has the most anxiety, the most need for you to be there, means that I don't get to spend an equal amount of time with the other two, who largely, act as if they don't want me there most of the time, or largely act as if I'm, a passable diversion to their day. But if I'm not there, it's fine. But obviously that's difficult, because I know that they would like to spend more time with me. I think. Did you have that with Dotty and George? Because obviously Dotty was much more literally shuffling in between you and George to nudge him out of the way. Did you feel a bit bad for George?
I felt bad that so much of my time and attention was taken up. But honestly, I'm not sure if George cared. He's quite a laid back. George, he's quite laid back. He's quite, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think similarly to Jay and India, a lot of the time he'd be like, well, what are you doing? Why are you in my room? Get out. What is it you want? So
yeah.
I think, again, it's human to feel that guilt, to feel that, oh God, I'm not, dividing myself equally among my children.
Yes.
But they don't have equal needs. They don't,
No, I guess. Sometimes it creates this sort of invisible hierarchy in the family where the child with the greatest need is prioritized. But then again, I get that with Jay, when he's, dysregulated, all of a sudden drop everything. It's Jay that needs the focus. And, and India similarly, when India's gone situationally mute on me, and I was like, okay, we need to now deal with this. It's juggling it. This plate spinning, isn't it?
Indeed.
Oh, that one's having a wobble. Quick. Give it a bit of attention. Yeah, it's really tricky. And I can imagine, I'm in a household of multiple neurodivergents. I imagine it's probably a lot harder if you've got one neurodivergent and some neurotypicals. I don't know what that's like myself, but I can imagine that's I know, that's a particularly difficult setup to navigate.
And the guilt that goes along with it must be, I reckon Dotty would tell you that my attention was taken up by George a lot of the time because of his explosive kind of nature and any trip out in public would invariably end in some sort of explosion from George. So she'd probably say, well, I think you'll find it was George taking up all the attention. I don't know, maybe ask your three, get them to do a poll. Who would you?
We can't win. Essentially, what we're saying is we can't actually win in this situation. Everyone feels neglected, apart from us. We want to be neglected.
We'd love to be neglected.
I think one of the frustrations of being a child's safe person is that ultimately, as parents, I think our role is to try and equip our kids with the skills needed to function independently in the outside world. And obviously, because they're neurodivergent, the timeline of when that might happen, and sometimes even if that is possible, is different from that of neurotypical kids. So sometimes that you can't help that desire to go on, you can do this on your own, or you want to see them operate independently in the world.
And the worry is that by having this really intense attachment from your child, that somehow they're not equipped.
Yeah. So where does it become sort of de-skilling them almost by being that executive function?
I would say, and this might be a slightly left field, I would take it back to, do you know about attachment theory? Is that something that's widely...
I did psychology at A-level, so I studied Lorenz and Jonathan Bowlby.
So attachment theory, put it in the show notes or something, but the idea that children need to form a healthy attachment to an adult caregiver in order to then go on and thrive in their adult lives. That's a sort of very, very paraphrased gist of it. Here's what's really interesting. What we know is that attachments are transferable. So I worked in fostering many, many, many years ago, and foster carers would form really loving bonds with children and then move them on to adopters. And the sort of it's almost like counterintuitive, isn't it? It's like, well, if they really love their foster carer, how are they going to love their adopter? But they can transfer that attachment to someone else. So I guess what I'm saying in a really convoluted way is that by being our children's safe person in whatever way that is, and for me and Dotty, it was that very intense attachment, actually we are equipping them to function independently, because we are giving them the skills to form healthy relationships with other people.
As in to give them the trust that other people can be there for them and love them unconditionally, or basically hold their dysregulation and not judge them. You're showing them that what that looks like.
That has to start with us, because we're the initial caregivers. So definitely what I saw with Dot is, as she got older, she was then able to form healthy relationships and have safe people in school and in college. And some of them will listen, no doubt. Shout out to Team Dotty over the years who have taken on that role of being her safe person when she's away from me. But without that foundation of mum will show up and mum will keep showing up, and it doesn't matter what happens, mum will love me and be there for me, I would say she wouldn't have been able to trust outside
other people. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's really useful to know. And I, it's understandable that we have this desire to want them to be able to be independent, but you can't force it, can you? You just, like anything, right? Like anything with our kids, it's in their own time. And, it's really great to hear from your perspective that Dotty has now been able to trust other people to do that with as well.
Yeah.
And that she's not sleeping in your bed every night now, which is great.
Not every night. I can't say it never happened.
And you are no longer having to fetch apple juice for her. She can get her own apple juice. Right.
Yeah.
But that has to come over time, and you just have to sit with it and show up for them while they need you, and
just know it won't be forever, and it will ebb and flow.
Yeah, good to know. One of the other things that I really wanted to focus on, because this is something that I hear from a lot of different people, is the specific dynamic of when in a household, in a neuroshambolic household, only one of the parents is seen as a safe person. Because that is a really difficult dynamic to have to navigate. There's this imbalance, and I kind of wanted to look at that a little bit. So we're in a fortunate situation in our household because both Tam and I are seen as safe people for the kids, because we parent on the same page and we are pretty consistent. We're separated, and because of our unique setup, we do nesting, so we tag in and out of the same household. The kids are here, that's consistent. The parent comes in and out. They don't really give a shit which one it is, which is amazing.
That's as it should be, though.
Genuinely, we are literally interchangeable. Sometimes they imagine that I was there for a memory that they were with Tam with, and there's no sort of significant upheaval between us. And again, I think it's because the house is consistent, but also it's because we parent on the same page, so we have a consistency and a predictability of their routine, which means that when Tam and I are not, in the house, we do get respite.
Yeah.
So I do get that downtime, which is great, because I end up having to edit the Neuroshambles. It gives me time to work on this, right? But if our neurodivergent kids don't have another safe person for them, that becomes a lot more intense. And that sounds like what's happening with Lydia in her email, because,
And it was certainly the dynamic in our house. And it is really hard to describe. It's incredibly intense. It's incredibly draining. I suppose what I would say to Lydia and to anyone else who's in that dynamic at the moment, that there is another adult in the household, but that everything is kind of directed onto one of you, and that's, not uncommon, is to actually recognise how much work that is. And, when it comes to what I wish I'd done way back then, I wish I'd recognised that was actually really hard work, and that basically I'd have made Phil do all the cooking and housework, and I'd have recognised how exhausted I was and how draining it was, and I would have lent more on the other adult in the household to pick up some of the easy bits, some of the, could you do the supermarket shop this week? Because then
So was it? I'm quite into. Was Phil aware that he wasn't sort of being lent on as a safe person by Dotty at that time?
Yes, I think we both very much knew that I was her focus and that it was me that she wanted and needed at all times. But I don't think either of us stopped to think about quite how tiring that was, and quite what that was taking out of me. That's what I would say, is just recognize that you are working extremely hard to manage a young person's needs, and that you might need other people to take up some of the slack, and that's okay.
Yes, and have that conversation of like, actually, this is how this feels to me. This is how much it's taking out of me. Yeah, take some of the strain and do this or do this. And yeah, that's really good advice, because they might not be able to take on the safe person role. That's a whole separate conversation of how the other parent or the other adult in the household can become that safe person.
Yeah.
Because that's
I
a whole.
don't know the answer to it.
No, well, I did because very often the safe person is the person that first kind of gets it, right? Who first sort of understands about the neurodiversity and learns to accommodate, and is the first person that sort of helps to support their child. So that's where, when you talk about imprinting or attachment, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, okay, you're safe, so therefore I'm sticking with you. And I very often, the vast majority of cases, that is the mum. I did a talk very recently in Bristol about this very thing, about how dads can show up better, and there's a whole bit about why we are late to the party. And I talked about this in the dad episode with Terry Lloyd as well, that the mums are usually the first ones to get it, so therefore they're the safe person. And it's incredibly valuable having more than one safe person, because that will be beneficial for the child. It'll be beneficial to the other caregiver to give you some respite as well. But that's not always possible. So at the very least, do the washing up, dude. Put the bins out.
Do the bloody big shop. And Phil did, and he does. I would never kind of. But I think for both of us, we just didn't quite acknowledge, even to ourselves, quite how intense that was, and how much labour that was, mentally, physically. It was really hard work.
Yeah. And if you had acknowledged it to yourself, I've met Phil, I know Phil. If you'd have communicated it to Phil, Phil would be like, oh, yeah, of course. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have been like, no, do it yourself. It's your job, But because you didn't articulate that need, and because he didn't see this invisible load that you were carrying.
Yes. He couldn't step up because he didn't know. Yeah. It took a therapist saying to me, because I was kind of just saying to her, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't manage all of this. And she was going, well, could you get Phil to do more? And I was going, well, he does a lot. And she said, Jo, there is a lot. And those 3 words kind of just made me go forward, kind of changed my life a little bit, because I was like, oh yeah, there is a lot. And I think sometimes we get so used to parenting these incredible kids that we don't
Yeah.
can acknowledge there is a lot. There is a lot of work here, and yeah. Anyway, that's my wisdom for the day.
That's really useful. Now, I have a first for Neuroshambles because this is the first ever episode where there are actually two guests, not just one. So, for the second time in this episode, we're going to
Meet the guest.
Now, when I originally discussed this topic with Jo, she mentioned that her daughter was keen to come on and talk to me about it as well. Obviously, I already know Dotty, so I jumped at the chance to have a chat with her, and I am delighted to be able to welcome aboard. It's Dotty Matthews. How you doing, Dotty?
Hello. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good.
I
I'm
feel like
good,
I'm
thanks. Yeah,
I feel like I'm on a talk show.
yeah. Well, it's just a chat. It's a pub chat without the pub. That's how I like to see it. So, obviously, you've been angling for an invite to Neuroshambles since episode 1.
Since before episode 1. Since the camping trip a few months before, where you were like kind of considering it.
Yeah. So you were like, yes, I want to be on it. So
This is my big moment.
you finally ground me down, Dotty. I'm delighted, delighted to have you on, and thank you for agreeing to chat about this topic of the week.
Yes.
So obviously, your mum and I have discussed what being a safe person for our neurodivergent kids looks like, and
Yes.
you've been in the room at the time listening to it. Have you got anything you want to respond to directly?
Well, I just can't believe how much she clocked me.
What, in which way? In
When
terms,
she was talking about how I used to come in the room and say, "What are we doing today?" I've been caught.
No, but that's just that's just what you needed. You need it's like us in that sense. You just need that scaffolding, and then when you know that, it's like, okay, fine.
Yes.
The reason that I'm really excited to talk to you is because very often I make a lot of assumptions about what my kids are feeling based on what I understand about neurodiversity and what people tell me. But I always find it really interesting to hear from the perspective of people who are going through this, of how it feels to them. So, okay, so let's look at the bit where you were saying, okay, what have we got lined up? How did it feel to not know what that was?
Well, just really, I'm very much someone who thrives on routine and someone who needs structure and to know what I'm doing. So, and also just, I love my mum. I love just hanging out with her. So
Yeah, and that's
kind of not knowing what the lineup, the plan is very much like, well, what if we're doing this, and what if there's an opportunity to do this and I miss it, and it's all just
so. And again, it's kind of anxiety based, right?
Yes,
I guess,
absolutely.
Which is, how I imagine it is for Otto, is having the sort of this yawning afternoon ahead of him and not knowing when we're going to do the next thing. He needs to have that, in place so that he can be a bit less anxious. So it's interesting that you see things from a similar perspective. And like you're saying, like your mum is a wonderful human because she's funny and she's empathetic and she's non-judgmental. And I consider Jo one of my safe people as well. But I'm interested in what it was specifically about Jo that made her your safe person when other people in the household maybe weren't.
Yeah, Phil.
Oh no, I'm not. That's not me specifically targeting Phil, because I know Phil and Phil is wonderful.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Why was it Jo that you were particularly kind of drawn to?
Well, me and her have always been really close, like since I was little. Like as I guess all parents and their children are. This is the thing. This must be really weird for anyone who doesn't experience this, or for anyone who doesn't have a neurodivergent kid, because they must be like, well, yeah, of course your kids are attached to you.
Yeah.
But when you're autistic, it's like she's a part of my soul.
Okay.
It's like there's my heart, and then she's also just like a little part of it as well. And I just know that just having someone that will always love me and will always be my person is very important to me.
And it was only Jo that you kind of felt would be able to be there.
Yeah, pretty much. Because as well as stuff like meltdowns, where you have a meltdown and you say something that you shouldn't have said, or you do something that you shouldn't have done, I know that she will still be there after.
Yes.
And that she will kind of the thing that makes my mum different is that she will be much more understanding and much more, she'll kind of know why it happens and be able to like be mature and talk to me about it and stuff. Whereas other people, particularly my dad, are not great at that.
Yes, and that is, you know, I've spoken from a dad's perspective of how it's much harder for dads to get on board because of the lots of different, you know, male parenting stereotypes, and we're usually kind of late to the party, where we may have already kind of lost your trust to that degree, and it takes a lot to kind of win it back.
Yeah, really, that's interesting. Yeah,
so you're gonna go to that, the safest person there, I guess. And
absolutely.
do you feel like your reliance on Joe, for want of a better word, has reduced a little bit over time?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say as I've gotten older, I can kind of be more independent, and I can kind of, especially emotionally, I'm really good at I'm very like self-sufficient when it comes to emotions now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was little, it was, I don't know what to do with this. This is too big for me. You take
Here,
it.
have my emotions, sort them out, and yeah. And I guess that's also in terms of meltdowns. Maybe you're finding yourself having fewer meltdowns because you understand your neurotype more, so you can anticipate. Oh, I'm feeling like there's a meltdown happening. You can have your own regulation strategies. Whereas when you were little, because certainly when mine, you know, with Otto and India, don't really have that at the moment. So I have to be that parachute for them when they kind of feel like they're falling. Whereas you can pack your own parachute now a lot of the time.
I guess, well, for most little kids, I'm sure like not most like kids can't regulate themselves. Like obviously, as my mum was talking about earlier, that's kind of what a parent does.
Yes.
But then I was getting to be like 11 or 12, and I was still like just couldn't do it, which must have been difficult for her as well, because being an autistic girl, when I say emotions, I mean quite severe like mental health difficulties.
Yeah.
So I can imagine for my mum, me being like 12, coming up to her saying, I'm going to hurt myself now, must have not been very fun.
No, of course, but then she was a person that you trusted enough to be able to say that to, which is hugely important for both of you.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yes, but without that, you'd still be having those feelings. You just wouldn't be sharing it.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah,
and the fact that your mum could hold that emotion and help you through that just then intensifies that relationship and that bond.
Absolutely, yeah.
Until eventually, you know, you start to learn other strategies, I'm guessing, and then you get to the point where, you know, Joe alluded to earlier, that you don't only have one safe person now.
Yes,
which
definitely.
I'm really interested in, because we all, you know, as parents, it goes without saying, we will be there for our kids no matter what. Like, absolutely. Yeah. However, if we can outsource some of that to other people sometimes, great. So
it's like you're taking what the kids handed you and being like, you take it now.
Yeah, but it's kind of you doing that now. Yes. You're the person that's going to go, well, actually, in school or college, for example, did you have people that you would see as your safe people?
Yes, absolutely. I had teachers specifically.
Amazing.
My secondary school, I was in a unit for autistic kids and people who needed some more help, and the people in there were just absolutely incredible. They were just my people,
right?
Which I can imagine was because then sometimes there would be boundaries that I struggled to see what the line was. So I would be telling them things that you probably wouldn't tell a school professional.
Right.
But because they were my safe people, I didn't quite. It's a really like interesting one, because I definitely felt it, but the way I went about it probably wasn't great, to be honest.
Okay. So you were maybe oversharing sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, that's an important thing, you know, and I'm sure working with neurodivergent kids, they understand that and they appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that Tam works with a lot of neurodivergent kids as well. And understanding neurodiversity, I know that, you know, that Tam is a trusted person to a lot of people, and that's really important, and Tam definitely kind of acknowledges that and respects that. It's not like, whoa, okay, that's too much. Sorry, you're not going to tell me that again, are you? No, I think it's important.
Yeah.
As Joe said, it's a blessing to be a safe person for someone, and
I can imagine. Yeah.
The other thing I'm kind of interested in, because obviously again, as parents, we want our kids to be independent and to be able to navigate the world without us having to be there. Not because we don't want to be, but because one day we're not always going to be, right? So it's important for you to have those skills. I was just wondering if were you conscious of wanting to be more independent, or is that just projection from us?
It's really wishful thinking from you.
You know, just because I can't see Otto ever wanting to leave home, and I
still don't want to leave home.
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Actually, no. Okay. I guess it kind of depended on where my mental health was at.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was about 14, most 14-year-olds are planning going to college and A-levels and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever, GCSEs and all that. But at that time, because I was really struggling, my brain was just going, I'm going to live with my mum forever and she's going to look after me forever. And I didn't really have any desire to be independent because I just couldn't imagine not having that at that age.
Yeah, because she's so important, I guess. And
absolutely,
as I say, Otto is insistent that he's going to live here forever. And, you know, as I'm sure Joe is, I'm fine with that. You know, I will do whatever I need to with my kids, you know, and Jay, I mean, India tells me that she's going to move out when she's 12, which you can imagine, right? She's just gonna,
I can see it.
I'm just going to get a note on the kitchen table one day. Find she's just packed a bag full of flapjacks and gone off.
Yeah.
But obviously it's, you know, it's different for each of our neurodivergent kids. So are you kind of conscious of when there was a time where you I mean, you're saying not when you're leaving home, but just sort of going, no, I can do this. I don't necessarily need to be so constantly in contact.
For me, it was when I started having those needs met in other places.
Okay.
That weren't just one person.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum, she provides emotional support and practical support and this, that, and the other. But what helped me was when I was able to find places like having healthy relationships with my friends where they're able to help me with things.
Yes.
Or
okay.
Having someone at school help me with something more like practical. It was when I kind of started finding it in like little pieces in other places that I was able to kind of be like, okay, well, now that that's sorted out, I can deal with the rest of it myself.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I guess that's, you know, a lot of that is leaning on your friends and finding those friends, I guess, because it's, you know, I'm going to make the assumption that they're neurodivergent.
Yes, you have met my best friend.
Yes, I have. Do we need to give them a shout out?
We do. We actually do, because they were also with me when this podcast was first being floated as an idea, and they were absolutely desperate. So, Andy, if you're seeing this, I did it first. Screw you. You snooze, you lose. You should have been more persuasive.
However, on the plus side, Andy, you are considered a safe person for Dotty. So you are honoured.
You're good. But yeah, finding those relationships, those friendships was really difficult, because having a need to have people who are safe people can result on obviously dependency,
mm-hmm.
which my mum can handle. My friends when I was 14 couldn't.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So when I was younger, I wouldn't say as extreme as it is with my mum, because obviously like she's my mum, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was 14, I would have friends that I would feel were the centre of my universe. They were everything. They could help me with anything. And that would result in me becoming I don't quite know how to describe it without sounding like a terrible person, but that would lead to me becoming quite dependent and like kind of possessive and kind of, you're my person and you do.
That doesn't make you sound like a terrible person at all. No, I mean, like, I get it. And we get where it's coming from, because you are looking for other safe people in an unsafe world.
Absolutely.
And you know that Joe isn't able to be in class with you, which would bring its own problems. I'm absolutely sure. So, you know, you're looking for other people to to be safe people, and then you're making assumptions that someone's a safe person, and they can show you they're not. That can, I presume,
Yes,
be quite harmful.
absolutely.
And was there an element of masking at play there, like at school? Did you sort of try and keep it in, or were you just like, this is me, and then they...
It kind of depends on the person. So when I had those friends that I thought were as, because I struggle to see what like the lines of relationships are. I struggle to know what's appropriate to say to a close friend versus someone who sits next to you in class. Like, I struggle to know what conversation you could have with different kinds of people. So I would see them as being like my mum, as someone I could say anything to. So I would be unmasked. So with those people, I would be 100% me, very overbearing, very probably not very pleasant to be around, to be honest. And it just wasn't great.
Okay, but then when you found other people who were able to hold that, and conversely, that you were able to hold their authentic selves,
Yes, that too.
so that you can lean on each other, then your reliance on Joe became a little bit less.
Yes, but the thing that made my mum just solidified as my person was I would come home from an absolute fucking disaster of socialization on my part. I'd just really fucked it up. I'd really been overbearing and overwhelming. And she would say, that's okay. Here's what you did wrong. I still love you.
Okay.
And then it was just okay again.
Yeah.
Because she said it was okay, and then it was okay.
And then that's about being that, as we were talking about earlier, being the translator almost. Okay.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, that as well.
oh, I see what happened here. It's this. Oh, well, try again.
My mum is so used to that.
Yeah.
I'll come up to her with like text and be like, what does this mean? And then she's able to kind of translate it, like you said.
Yeah, which is great. And I think, as we've talked about all of those different ways that we can be a safe person for our neurodivergent kids, and the more that we can do that, the better it is, and the more equipped you are to then identify those traits in other people and go, okay, you can do a bit of this, and then you can outsource it a little bit and become more independent.
Is I would say the key thing.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you, so this was sort of in part triggered by an email that I had from a listener, Lydia, who wrote in about her 13-year-old suspected neurodivergent daughter.
Okay.
And obviously you
I was a 13-year-old.
You were a 13-year-old. I was going to say.
I don't like to think about it, but I was.
Yeah, you have more recently been a 13-year-old girl.
I have.
Navigating this, and I think from speaking to Joe, there's a lot of similarities in terms of that, the constant texting and phoning when they're away from you. So firstly, I wanted to kind of get a sense of when Joe wasn't there, how did that feel to you?
I remember it just felt like I was completely exposed and unprotected from the world.
Right, okay.
And it was like, I don't even really know how to describe it, because I'm going to just sound insane if I say this, but it just felt like all of these horrible things were going to happen because she wasn't with me. If that doesn't make me sound insane.
No, not at all. It's because that's anxiety, isn't it? Right? And anxiety is, your nervous system is triggered. It's your survival instinct kicks in, and you're just reaching for that reassurance that is now not there, despite the fact that there are other people in the house. You've not been abandoned in a ditch somewhere, right?
Yeah,
you're at home with your stuff around you, and other people.
My dad is like sat next to me on the sofa.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yes, but he wasn't that safe person. And I'm not, just to be clear, we're not saying that Phil is unsafe, right?
We love
Phil. He's a magnificent human, but he didn't tick all of the boxes that we've discussed in terms of providing that scaffolding and the emotional regulation support.
He could do practical stuff. He could make me food. He could buy me things. That was his big thing for a bit. Whenever I was upset, he'd be like, do you want me to buy you a game? Do you want me to spend some money on you? He could provide the practical stuff, but it was the emotional stuff that I needed at that point. I needed someone to be like, talk to me about my feelings, and kind of, which my dad is much better at now. I will say he has come on leaps and bounds, but back then.
And what do you think's changed then in that sense? Is it him just having a clearer understanding of neurodivergency, or specifically your neurotype?
I think in my family it was more just to do with stuff that was going on at the time.
Right.
But I definitely say that being a 13-year-old girl, you do just kind of hate your dad. Like, when India gets older, get ready. Okay, you're not prepared for what I'm about
I'm
to hit you.
really not prepared for that. No, I can't. I mean,
Look, I think as I got older and he kind of got used to me being an older person and not like a little child, he became much better at listening because I became better at expressing things. As I got older, I became much better at being like, this is what I need. This is what I need from you.
Right. So maybe reacting with less emotion and more sort of, this is what I need. You more clear about what you need rather than
Yes,
just
absolutely that.
pouring out all the emotion and expecting him to read between the lines.
Which this was the thing, because my mum can read between the lines. She can do that. So with me and my brother, she is incredible at she can look at us and she can just know what the problem is. But my dad could not do that, and I kind of struggled to get to grips with that.
Yes, and you can articulate at that age because you're still working your own neurotype out, right?
I know, yeah.
That's really interesting. So the final thing I was gonna ask is, in response to the email that Lydia wrote in. Well, two questions really. Have you got any advice for Lydia specifically, because she's feeling this sort of almost overwhelm of her own about being this her daughter's safe person? Have you got any advice for Lydia? And then I'm going to ask you if you got any advice to her 13-year-old daughter. So let's go for Lydia first.
So last time I checked, I don't have any children. I might need to get on that again. But as far as I'm aware, I don't have children, so I don't quite understand from a parent's point of view. I can only empathise, and obviously, looking back at my younger self and what I put my mum through, I know that it must not be easy. But I don't really know what advice I'd give other than just, it does get better. Being 13 is shit for anyone, but it is extra shit if you are neurodivergent. It's just shit times 1,000. So I think all you can really do as a mother is just keep being there and keep showing up. Of course, like my mum with the bath. That's helped me, having one thing that's like, okay, I know that this is not my time, this is her time.
Yes.
That's really helped me. And then also just showing up and it must be really easy to get frustrated, and it must be really easy to want to say, just fucking leave me alone.
I don't think any parents ever would get to that stage, but it is.
Oh, my mum definitely has.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
He's told me that on quite a few occasions. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, but I think Joe is uniquely expressive.
Unique's a good way to put it.
But yeah, there's definitely an element of just like, I just need some respite. I just need that time for myself.
To just not let her know or not show that you are struggling with it, because that would just make the anxiety a million times worse.
Yeah. And then the last question was about what you might say to the 13-year-old daughter who is going through this feeling of overwhelm and this intense anxiety when her mum isn't around.
What I would say to the 13-year-old daughter is, being a teenager is absolutely awful. It is just so shit. And finding that one thing that kind of makes it feel better, and then having that thing not be there, is just it feels like the world is being ripped away from you. But what I can say is that level of anxiety does not last forever, and that you will find ways of coping with it, and you will find ways of, and I don't know what those will look like, because I'm not you, I don't know you.
Yeah.
But having been an autistic 13-year-old girl who sounds very similar to you, I can tell you that you will find your safety and your happiness and your regulation in other places. And also, you are very loved.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to say. That's really helpful. Thank you, Dotty. And again, it's like, you can't just switch it off. You can't go, just don't be so anxious. It's just like,
yeah. Have you thought about just not?
Yeah. Have you thought about just chilling the fuck out? It's not going to help. But yeah, I think the sort of the overall theme of this is it will pass, and there are multiple different ways that will. And
that's not to say that it's not really shit.
No, not at all. For both the mum and the daughter,
absolutely.
It's hard and it's exhausting, but if you can sit through it together and come out of the other side of it, then everyone is going to be in a better place, I think.
Amen to that.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Dotty, for coming on and being my first ever non-parent guest of Neuroshambles as well.
I
You've
feel
broken
like,
many boundaries today.
what
I'm
can
so
I
proud
say?
of you.
know, what, I'm just like a trendsetter.
You are.
It's not all rubbish.
Okay, this is time where we're going to look at the positives, because I think the fact that your child has a safe person at all is testament to the fact that as a parent you're doing a good job, right? If you are a safe person for your child, you are
Yeah.
so important to them, and you are, showing up for them in many ways, and it's a special thing because you get it, right? And they trust you, and I don't think that should ever be underestimated in a world that is particularly challenging for our neurodivergent kids. Also, as a positive, secretly, Joe, admit it, it is quite nice to be wanted.
Oh, yeah. And also, I put on my notes, we all went out last weekend. How many other parents get to go on nights out with their 19 and 23-year-olds and just have a massive laugh
Yeah.
and have that sort of...
Yeah.
Most 19 and 23-year-olds would be like, no.
Yeah, they want nothing to
Not
do
going
with their
out with
parents,
you.
whereas actually the fact that, I think that's the thing, isn't it? That, when kids start to become teenagers, they want to go as far away from their parents as possible. And that's quite difficult for other parents that I know who have now got teens and feel like they're being rejected. But there's no fear of that with you, Joe.
No fear of that whatsoever. And how lucky am I, though?
The first time I ever went clubbing, it was with her.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think most like people my age would dread to admit that.
I
But not
can
me.
imagine going
had a
clubbing
great
with
time.
Joe. She is far from a safe person to be with.
Next morning we woke up and we were looking through photos, and there were just reams of photos of me with other young people like that. And I did not have a clue who any of them were. So,
Nice.
You weren't being safe to them.
Nice.
You were like that weird old woman.
yeah.
Who hugs me.
Yeah, so there's lots of positives from this. It's hard. It is hard, but you build that close relationship that will last, that has a longer shelf life, I think.
Exactly.
Which is lovely.
Exactly.
Neurodiversity Champions.
Okay, Neurodiversity Champions now. These are the people or organizations that are doing wonderful things in the world of neurodiversity. Have either of you got a Neurodiversity Champion for us? Dotty, you have one.
My one is literally personal to just me.
Okay.
But my neurodiversity champion is my boyfriend's mum.
Okay.
Because she is an absolutely wonderful woman. But what she started doing is she started sending me, before I go over, she started sending me like what dinner she's going to make that week.
Oh,
She knows
wicked.
that I like the food.
Mm-hmm.
So she will send me like, on Sunday we're having this, on Saturday we're having this. And then she'll also say that she's going to buy chicken nuggets and pizza, even though no one else in the house really eats them, just in case I don't like what she's cooking.
That's
So
incredible.
That is amazing. And have you communicated that to her, or is she just has she got any experience with neurodiversity?
So she was a childminder for a really long time, which involved working with lots of autistic kids.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows what she's talking about. And she is also just wonderful and a very nice person. So she is my champion.
Massive shout out to Dotty's boyfriend's mum.
You know who you are, Diva.
Joe, do you have any Neurodiversity Champions for us?
I do. So I have very recently had to move my Tuesday club.
Formerly Sunday Club.
The club formerly known as Sunday Club is now Tuesday Club, and we'd been in the same venue for 7 years and the venue closed down.
Oh, no.
So I had to move my little band of gremlins. I mean, God knows I love those kids, but they're a lot. They are a lot. But anyway, we moved to the Loxdale Centre, which is a English language centre in Portslade, and it's in this like stately home. They have been so welcoming and so incredible. And they've even sent emails saying, "We love having you here." And I'm like, what? Sorry, what?
Why?
Have you mistyped the email address? And yeah, so they are my neurodiversity champions of the week. Just for welcoming us and bending over backwards to make it a really smooth transition.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely give those a shout out.
Tiny epic wins.
Okay, tiny epic wins now. These are the things that in a neurotypical family will seem no great shakes, really, not a big deal. But for a neuroshambolic family, massive wins. Do you have any tiny epic wins for us, Joe?
I do, and it's Dotty related. Oh my
Okay.
God. I think on a previous episode, Mark, I think shown you Dotty's lists of foods she will and will not eat.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
This past weekend, my superstar of a daughter tried chicken tikka masala and mango chutney.
Nice.
I did. We went to me and my friend went to a very fancy Indian restaurant, and I was very nervous because I don't like spicy food.
Yeah.
And then I just said, fuck it, and I just did it, and it was really good.
Was it tasty?
It was really good. Yeah, I really
You've added a safe food?
Well,
it has to be specifically from that restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
So unless you're willing to like get it delivered from this place, then
okay. But well done. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Nice win.
I'm leaving now.
Are you going?
I'm bored.
That kind of ruins the continuity somewhat.
No, it's fine.
It's honest. It's real.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Dotty. I've got a tiny epic win, and this is the story of India in the school play, right? Because India sort of wants to be famous. This is a thing. She's not really thought about how or why, but she just wants to be famous. And so she was in a school play, and she was asked to play the part of a frog. And she was getting increasingly anxious about it ahead of the day because, and I didn't know why. And then she managed to explain it to me, is that they have to wear headbands with eyes on to make them look like frogs. But she didn't like the headband. It was kind of itchy and she didn't think it looked frog-like enough. So instead, she really wanted to wear her bright green stretchy body sock, you know, the ones the zip up stretchy body socks that like help to regulate our autistic kids, right? She loves it. It's like being in a massive pillowcase, right? So she really wanted to wear that, and so I spoke to the school and I spoke to a teacher about it, and he was super accommodating. And he let her wear it. So amongst a sea of children all wearing frog headbands, India is wearing like this bright green body sock in the middle of the stage. And but as soon as she knew she could wear that, no more anxiety. She did the play, and also loads of people complimented her on her costume. They were just like, that looks amazing. So she was super proud of it when she told me afterwards.
That's wonderful.
So that is a tiny epic win for me. All round.
A sea of frogs, be the kid in the body sock.
Living it. Absolutely living the role.
What the flip?
Okay, so what the flip moments now? These are the moments, these are the things that our neurodivergent kids will do or say that will completely flummox us, which I always love. Have you got any what the flip moments, Joe?
I am looking forward to hearing yours.
Okay, well, I've got a few. So, starter from Jay was, I don't know what he was thinking. He was sort of drifting off and staring into the middle distance. And then he just turned to me and went, in olden times, I could definitely see myself as a pillager. Just like, where was his brain at that moment in time? I'm just like,
in olden times, Mark. You know where his brain was. It was in olden times.
I know, but then he's, I can imagine him sort of weighing up whether it's a feasible job option. Pillager, yeah, I think I've got what it takes. Yeah, complete disregard for morality, a can-do attitude, and a total disregard for health and safety. Yeah, I've got it. It's in the bag.
Tick.
Another one from India is that we went swimming recently, and I bumped into a friend in the swimming pool. not physically bumped into him. I saw him in the swimming pool, and that's always a bit weird because you don't expect to just bump into someone. Yeah. But we swam. We were swimming, and I was with India, and I bumped into him, and hello, and he said hello to me, and we had a little chat. And India was a little way off, and then she swam up to me and very loudly she went, "Daddy, who the hell is that?" It's like, okay. Just sort of, no zero filter whatsoever. Just like literally say what you're thinking, love.
Comment
Lovely,
from India.
lovely moment. Who the hell is that? But I can, I can see why she was confused. Well, neither of us are expecting to be in this situation, so reasonable. I just explained who it was, and she sort of swam off.
And was your friend okay with being asked?
I mean, he didn't have much choice, did he? This is us, dude. No, he's fine. He gets it, I think. My final what the flip moment is directly related to the tiny epic win of India in the frog costume. So we had a bit of a debrief afterwards because she was getting so anxious about wearing this frog costume, and I was like, look, I will ask your teacher. And then we had a debrief, and I went, look, you see, if you can tell me what you need, I will do everything I can to accommodate that. You just need to tell me. And then she seemed sort of absently thinking about something else. She just turned and went, can I lick you? And I went, no. And then she said, you said you'd fight to accommodate my needs.
I think you were owned there.
I went, yeah, good point. Okay, I had to let her lick me. I got no choice. So,
I mean, was that a need or was it?
I don't know, but it was like I just had to respect her hustle.
You had to, yeah. I think
you do sometimes.
Completely snookered.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to yield, give in. So I did. Okay, that is it for this episode of Neuroshambles. Joe, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me about your experience of being Dotty's safe person. And I would thank Dotty directly in person, but she at one point went, I'm bored of this, and walked off. So she's not here to thank in person, but I will thank audibly. Dotty, thank you so much for taking part and being our first ever non-parenting guest of Neuroshambles. You've broken some ground there. Thank you also to Neuroshambles listeners for continuing to download and spread the good word, and for saying nice things on the socials and in reviews. Could always do with more reviews if you fancy leaving one, because that will help to encourage other people to listen to it. Please drop a review on your podcast platform of choice. You can also follow me on the socials on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. But other than that, I think all that remains for me to say is have a nice life.